All right, let's do this. We have Persian Warrior versus Buffo. Vampire Coast against the Skaven. Usually this matchup is quite Skaven favored, though I don't love what the Skaven brought as far as competitiveness goes. So I think the Vampire Coast might have a shot here. We'll see. Usually pretty bad for the Coast. Front line of Storm Vermin with Halberds and then Skaven Slaves. We have some Eshin Triads mixed in, I think actually just one. Then we have a Plague Monk in the very far back. Looks like a second Plague Monk over there. Some Wolf Rats with Poison, Natty Boob with Sharpshooters, some Rat Ogres here and there. And we have a Grayseer with the Dreaded 13th and Pestilent Breath. On the other side, for the Vampire Coast, we have Pistol Mobs, Animated Hulks, Mourngulls, including the Night Terrors. Looks like 3 Mourngulls total. Pistol Mobs, Deckhands Mobs, more Dogs, more Animated Hulks, and Celestra Diraphon on a Rotting Leviathan with both of her summons. One is Bound, the Ghost of the Past, the other one is the Denizens of the Deep. She also brought Tide Call with the Kiss of the Deep, map-wide Mortis Engine passive whenever she casts a spell for a little bit. Okay. It is a monstrous rush. Usually Skaven are not a big fan of monstrous infantry, so that makes a lot of sense. Scurvy Dogs on the high ground getting a fight with the Skaven Slave Slingers, quickly going to devour those pathetic slaves and take them out quickly. As Plague Monks get an amazing fight against Scurvy Dogs and Pistol Mob, Plague Monks will do great there. They'll love it. Grayseer using some of his global buffs to keep the Skaven in the fight. Unholy Clamor helping them out a lot, while his Bound the Scorch takes out almost an entire Pistol Mob. Now Celestra is on the hunt. Natty Boo with Sharpshooters trying to poke out Celestra, who does just throw a summon at them, and she's going to use the Erotic Prometheans first. Not going to summon the Damned Knights Errant just yet. But in comes a Storm Vermin summon from the Dreaded 13th. Big explosion takes out about half HP from 2 different zombie mobs. That's a pretty good start for them, and then they'll try and chase down the Animated Hulks, I imagine, while other Storm Vermin get kited out. Mourngulls running away from them in a weird smoky cloud, while these guys get shot in the back by pistols on the low ground. So pretty good stuff for the Vampire Coast there. Natty Boob Sharpshooters trying to get away from the Erotic Prometheans that are chasing them down. These Eshin Triads are in what you would think would be a good fight, but their courage is failing them so badly that they probably won't stick around for much longer, but they're trying to get good damage out while they can, as another Plague Breath comes out from the Grayseer trying to help clear that front line. Skaven running out of places to stand. Do have a decent little lead on the balance of power this early into the game, but I am worried. Triads already terror routing. Front line falling apart with Rat Ogres and Skaven Slaves running, and as with most Skaven games, when their super high priority ranged units get shut down, then you'll see balance power even out quite a bit. Now in this case it's only Natty Boo, so that's still 1200, I forget which one they are. 12 to 1300 gold that is ready to be murdered by these scurvy dogs. Celestra is still trying to route off the Eshin Triads. The Terror Route wore off, so now we need a natural route from them. But with the Plague Monks leaving, it'll probably be nearby ally debuff enough that they route to Birds of a Feather and whatnot. So the edges of the Skaven formation are falling apart, and it's all closing down to the center, where the Storm Vermin will be rather imposing. They'll hold for quite a long time. Even as the Night Terrors jump in on them, the Storm Vermin will be just fine. So we have 3 healthy Storm Vermin. None of them are a summon, so none of them are fake. But the smaller your area gets that you can control, the less room the Natty Boo Sharpshooters have to actually engage with anything. And the Coast is just going to pick off anybody outside of the box and kill them. So we'll see how the Halberds can do. Celestra does still have the Ghosty Ghost Night Summon. She also has Tide Call she can spam over and over again to try and clear out these Storm Vermin, though without a lot of shooting of any kind, just some pistol mobs. I do worry that you won't be able to grind through all the Halberds truly. Maybe snipe the Grayseer. Could be a way back into this. Unholy Clamor gives all the Skaven vigor and leadership to try and keep them in the fight. Rat Ogres have rallied, but it looks like they don't realize it just before the Scurvy Dogs hit them. So they might rout from that rear charge. Unholy Clamor has worn off. More slaves come back only to rout. Rat Ogres too, thinking about it. The Natty Boo is getting hunted down by Mourngulls. Look at their weird-ass hanging jaws. Go, Mourngulls, go. That is a lot of Halberds, my Mourngully friends. Celestra gearing up to take down the Grayseer as his Rat Ogre heaves and pulls to keep the bell tolling. I love the Grayseer model. It's hilarious, but also very well done. Triads briefly get onto Celestra, cut her armor in half before Mourngulls charge in, and they should be routing pretty soon again. Their leadership is just not good enough. Standing next to the Gracier, they do get a couple buffs that might keep them in the fight for a brief second longer, but not much longer than that. More Tide Calls hitting the Storm Vermin. The Storm Vermin's down to half HP. That is progress. Others 3/4. Where's the final Halberd? There he is out there, fighting the Night Terrors. Second and final, Dread 13th comes out, hits some zombies, summons right on top of the Animated Hulks, and things are getting a little dire for the Vampire Coast. They're going to need to switch up how this goes, because just a late game grind fight on top of these Storm Vermin Halberds is not going how they want it to be. Did they use their second round of Promethean summon? Doesn't look like it. They still have their damn Knights Errant summon too. Yeah, so they have 2 summons left total. Another Tide Call goes backwards through these guys, pokes down the Storm Vermin a little bit more. Dogs are on the chase again. If they get these Skaven Slaves routing, that would be huge for them, because right now the Skaven Slaves are blocking them from getting Deneti Bubos and just causing them a little bit of attrition damage they can't really afford. But chasing down units for free is good for them. Their leadership will be fine, which is what they need. Still have some pistols firing in. They're firing in onto the Storm Vermin summon, which probably isn't advisable, and the Scorch just goes a little bit off, so... Lucky for those pistols not to get hit by that, though Plague Monks have found them. Honestly, even a Plague Monk that damage might be able to take them down. Depends on if they get the winning in combat buff or not. Looks like they're not, so they're probably going to rout. Crumbling Animated Hulks are running towards those guys. Mourngul's pretty low on HP, though they do have the hunger, so as long as they're in melee, they will heal. Though unfortunately, most of what they have to fight with is Storm Vermin Halberds, which is terrible for them. Where's that summon Storm Vermin? Did it dissipate already? Looks like it might have. Natty Bubos are allowed to come back. Big problem. Looks like the dogs chased off the slingers and just left the Natty Bubos alone. So those guys are stalking right now. And they have snipe too, don't they? So I don't think they have to reveal themselves to shoot, which could be huge. They could just sit off to the side and fire and no one would even know. Looks like they're going to do just that. Solastra is wandering off, looking for... she wanted to refresh her charge onto the Storm Vermin Halberds. Understandable. Gracier is getting a little low here and there. Do still have some deckhands mobs, and another Tide Call straight through these guys. Trying to leverage those collision attacks the Rotting Leviathan has to poke down the Storm Vermin, but it doesn't seem to work that well, and now she is just in the middle of Halberds. But the Gracier of Plague is under attack by the Night Terrors and now runs himself into Solastra. Night Terrors trying to claw their way through him. There's the damn Knights Errant summon that we needed. Still have the Denizens of the Deep if they want it. And Natty Bubos firing in at Solastra, occasional pokes. Do the Mourngulls see her, or are they just moving up to clear out these Halberds? The world may never know. Damn Knights Errant coming to Solastra's aid. They have a notoriously short amount of time on the battlefield, but they will do well. Terror routing the Storm Vermin that are protecting Gracier, and now those armor-piercing, ethereal, Frostbite Knights slowing down the Gracier, holding them in place while the Mourngulls get big damage off. All of a sudden, the balance power is wildly in the Vampire Coast's favor. And I do tend to agree things are looking pretty good for them, especially if they can kill the Gracier, but all of a sudden they're running out of gusto to do so. And the damn Knights Errant are getting massacred by something. It must just be the Halberds they're standing on actually doing that much damage to them, which is a bit wild. Gracier has rallied for now. The Night Terrors are back in onto them. These other Mourngulls are crumbling as they try and go get the Natty Bubos. Still have a pistol mob firing away. As for the natural Storm Vermin, they're both very, very low. The damn Knights Errant are trying to refresh their charge. They only have 20 seconds left of life. Solastra's also pretty low. Mourngulls in the distance try to run down the Natty Bubo sharpshooters, and they do so briefly. Terror rout them. The hunger trying to keep them alive past the crumbling. The Gracier takes some big damage for an Unholy Clamor. Really wanted to use that in the late game to keep his Storm Vermin fighting, and I get that, but the damage is brutal onto him. 278 HP is, I think he just, yeah, he's getting beat up by a couple Night Terrors here and there. 150 value, down to 40 value, down to 24, 13 value as he runs. The blessed value of 13 HP, 18 leadership, and he is chilling as the pistol shops poke at him. 4 HP, and he's not routing, and he really needs to rout if the Skaven have a chance. He's down to 3 HP. Storm Vermin Halberds closing in on the gunnery mobs. Solastra is close to crumbling. Can she go get the Gracier, or does she even have to? Charges through. Natty Bubos could maybe come back. Not looking likely. Storm Vermin might fight. Solastra realizes she needs to take out the Gracier, but she casts a Tide Call. The Tide Call onto the Storm Vermin. The Kiss of Death. The global damage per second onto the Gracier was actually enough to kill him. So managed to get that leader's dead debuff onto all the Storm Vermin. She's now trying to run this one off, but she should just turn around and charge the other one because she would instantly rout it, and that would end the game. I can appreciate the caution, but a little overdone. Another Tide Call into the Storm Vermin. Really wants to keep on these guys, make sure they don't come back. I understand that. Now she's going to turn and charge, but on the charge, these guys are doomed. And a Tide Call even breaks their charge defense, and immediately they tear her out. Celostra does it. The Kiss of Death and Tide Call playing their part. 2,500 value for her. Mourngulls were around. They were annoying. Dogs were also very annoying for this Skaven to deal with. Pistol Mobs did okay. Animated Hulks did okay. For Buffo, Plague Monks got good value. Storm Vermin Halberds did really, really well. Giselles and the Slingers did okay. The Rat Ogres and the Dogs got massacred very badly, though. GG. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.